it's nice to have you with us. I'm Paul Rotherham, and a very warm welcome once again to this, another edition of the Coaching Hour podcast. I'm coming to you straight out of Benoni, and once again, we've got, I'm afraid, the thorn among the roses, because three ladies are joining me today, two regulars in the form of Marika and Mary, my co-hosts, and part of the Coaching Hour. Hello, girls.
Hello.
Nice to have you with us. And now normally we hand over to Marika to take care of the introductions, but somebody who does a lot of hard work behind the scenes is Mary. And I'm thrilled to say, Mary, you actually put together this week's episode and brought the guest along. So we'll allow you to do the introductions. Thank you very much.
Indeed, I did. So Andrea Riem is a kinesiologist, and she specializes in her passion. Her passion is to help children and adults, and she works with kinesiology, and she'll explain to you what kinesiology is. And she also specializes in brain gym training. And I've had personal experience with Andrea. She has amazing results, absolutely amazing results with children and adults. So here we go. This is what we have for you this morning.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrea. Wow, I'm really looking forward to the session. We're going to talk more about brain gym, peak performance through designed movement. Now, the brain, the body connection, it fascinates me. So I'm really excited to talk more, about it, what brain gym is, how it works. But first, tell us more about you. Who's Andrea, and how did you came about doing what you do today?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Andrea. I work as an educational kinesiologist, so it's a little bit different to applied kinesiology. Brain gym, trainer and practitioner. So it's been quite a journey for me. I started off in the corporate world in telecoms and event management many moons ago. And then I had my baby girl, and then I wasn't fitting into the corporate world with having a baby and having a passion for kids and all the rest. I had a little bit of an emotional breakdown, and a colleague of mine said, go try brain gym. So I'm like, okay. So I actually started doing the courses, and I did it for my daughter, Katie. She's now almost 16, and my son is now 12. So my passion started off just to help them, to give me tools to help my kids, especially because I was a full-time working mom. And it's a struggle when you have to travel all the way to Midrand, and I was in Rudderpoort side. You don't get much time with your kids. And then the brain gym work changed my life personally, changed the way I was with my kids, changed who I was from a very A-type, overstressed, paranoid, oversensitive person to a very nice, calm, relaxed, integrated person. So then I just followed on the course. I just wanted to learn more and more and more. And then eventually I got qualified. So I'm like, okay, so what's the next step? And that's how then I started working part-time, helping others. So the passion has always been, since it changed my life so much, I just want to share the knowledge with everyone else.
Now, Andrea, what is brain gym? Obviously, gym sounds to me like something like exercising. But what is brain gym? I always thought it's only something that one can use with young kids.
Yes. So the amazing thing is, as we move, every time we move, we're actually creating neurological brainwaves. We're connecting all the neurological brainwaves in the brain. And every time we touch, even ourselves, we're stimulating nerve growth factor. So we're stimulating nerves to grow every time we're moving during the day. And that's why movement, especially brain gym, is not designed just for kids. It was originally focused at kids with learning difficulties, but the way it impacts and calms the body down, it actually helps everybody at any age. So I do brain gym, baby brain gym with babies from birth onwards, and then all the way I've had work with people with Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's, and I've been doing brain gym activities with them. It actually helps to slow down their symptoms of, like with Parkinson's. Just through movement, you're actually calming the neurological system down, and then you don't have such severe responses to life.
That's interesting. Now, this movements, is it like exercise type movements? Is it what type of movements?
So Brain Gym is the original 26 design movements that help us to get into our peak performance. So what it does is, when we go into any type of anxiety, stress, any situation that we don't feel safe, our body responds in a fight or flight response. So all of our energy goes from our heads into our arms and our limbs to fight or run away or freeze. So, and then when we try and get out of that stressful situation, often it's like, okay, we have to get out of stress, so calm down. So we do a mental processing aspect to actually move out of stress. But when we move and use our body to calm the neurological system down and the physiological system down, then we actually calming the body part that is actually having that stressful response. So the Brain Gym movements are, first you got the major 26 movements, which are like exercise movements. The main one is the cross crawl, which is literally just crossing the midline. Because the moment we get into stress, because all the energy is going into our limbs, we don't have full access to our full brain potential. So it's almost like, and if we're more dominant on, say, left hemisphere, then our right hemisphere doesn't have full access in a stressful situation. So according to Dr. Carla Hannaford, we have access to only about 15% of our cognitive understanding, which is our prefrontal lobes, under stress. So all of the other energy is sitting in our limbic system, or our brainstem, which is our survival brain. So when we are in stress, we are in survival. So by just doing the cross crawl, what you're doing is you're getting the energy and you're showing the brain, I can activate both sides of the brain, because the right hemisphere communicates with the left side and the left hemisphere communicates with the right side. So as we integrate and just crossing the midline, then you're creating more whole brain integration. So then you can actually think and progress and actually do things with your whole brain, instead of in a stressful state of just using about 15% of your cognitive understanding.
I'd like to jump in here, if I may, with a question, and that is regarding stress. So you've said that this is a stress response. It's how we handle stress. We have spoken to many coaches over the last probably year or more. I would say, in fact, from the very beginning of this podcast, we have learned, particularly in South Africa, although I think it is global, that we are under stress permanently.
Yes.
There's always something that is stressing us out. So could you perhaps just go into that a little bit for us in terms of what stress specifically it is that you're referring to? Because what I'm hearing here is that we should all be doing Brain Gym all the time, because we're always stressed to some extent.
I would say that would be ideal. The fact is that our body's going to survival patterns because of our external environment. And especially after COVID, it's created a whole world of feeling unsafe. The moment we feel unsafe, then we do go into stress. So, but then we adapt, and our bodies adapt to the situations that we're in. So it doesn't feel like we are in stress, but we are constantly on a treadmill of just running. And we don't have time to recalibrate and actually have downtime to process the stresses we have. So we can function, but are we functioning at our optimal 100%? So do you sometimes have situations where it's a busy day and all the rest, and suddenly you forget your best friend's number, or you forget you had to pick up the kids at a certain time? What that is, it's showing your body is literally telling you you are not in balance. You're out of balance. And that's what stress is. It's a fact that the body is out of balance. But does it stop us from moving forward? No. We adapt and we compensate. But then that's how the body does it. The body has to compensate for the mental stresses we're having. And then all of that adaptation is pretty much, then we get tense and tight muscles, because we're not dealing with the emotional aspects or the mental aspects of stress. Then all of that gets actually stuck in the cells in the body. And that often when we create a discomfort or a dis-ease in the body, eventually it results in a dis-ease, in a disease. So a lot of our diseases, I mean, if you go to a doctor, the 86% of the doctor's visits are linked to stress-related ailments. I mean, high blood pressure, that is stress-related, but do people stop to calm down? No, they don't have time. We're in a survival process. Do they compensate? Yes. So some people use maybe going to the gym or meditation or, you know, exercise just to calm down, to help them just cope. But a lot of people don't even move. And that actually holds all the stress within the body from a physical perspective. And we actually need, from a physiological perspective, to burn out the stress through movement. And how a baby is developed and how our brain is developed is through movement. So our foundation of life is movement. And they actually say later on in life, 86% of the elderly that dance don't get Alzheimer's because they are moving. So they're keeping the body active and the brain active at the same time. And that's how you get yourself out of stress. I mean, after when you're stressed and you go for a run or you go to the gym or you do something physical, do you find that you feel a little bit calmer and more productive after the fact? Even though it's exhausting, you actually feel, and you get the natural endorphins that are released that help us move through the stresses in life. And with Brain Gym as so it was created by Paul Dennison and his wife and partner, Gail Dennison. And he's actually stated that Brain Gym has almost replaced play with kids nowadays because kids aren't playing. And as we're not playing, they're not moving. And have you not seen more kids are stuck with anxiety, fear, depression? It's because of the lack of movement in society at the moment. So, I mean, that's where Brain Gym is a simple tool that we try to educate parents, teachers to actually use. Also, especially I do training quite a lot with teachers to do it in the classroom. I started with doing the teachers that that teach my kids. So I'm like, please do this in the classroom, because I know I could actually see a difference in my son's spelling test in grade 3, because he would do the Brain Gym exercises before he went to school, but then suddenly he's picking up on everyone else's anxiety, so he still didn't do well. So then I taught the teacher to do the Brain Gym exercises in class before the test, and then suddenly his marks jumped up by 20%. And it's just, we are picking up not only our own stress, we pick up on the environmental stresses.
Yeah.
So here we are at the moment, obviously all in front of our laptops because we are busy with the coaching hour. But I would say on an average day, if I look around, most, if not every person I know is spending way too long in front of a screen of sorts. So here you are, whenever you're listening to this or whenever you're watching this, chances are that even outside of watching this program, you will be on your laptop, on your phone. What can we do right now in the moment? Can you teach us some Brain Gym that would be of help, perhaps whether we're at the office or maybe at school, wherever it is we are? Can you give us some practical tips or perhaps show us some Brain Gym, Andrea?
Yes, definitely. So the first aspect is hydration, water. So one of the movements, even not being a physical movement, but we are swallowing, is drinking water. Because the moment we are dehydrated, our body goes into stress. So the importance of actually hydration and the body is vital. And our whole body is we have electrical connections in the brain, and we need water and oxygen to increase the connections with that electrical connections. So the most important thing is drinking water first, and then drinking water, so it also hydrates you and it helps you, gives you energy. So so it's drinking water is one. If you've got water, have a sip.
Cheers to that.
And when I teach the little ones, those that don't like tasting water, is I encourage them to chew water. So, and what it is if you have water, have a sip and give it a chew.
Very tasty.
Yes, can you feel it all in the mouth? And it's like the oxygen gets immediately absorbed into the mouth and into the brain. And then the next one is we do brain buttons. So what it is do a U shape with your fingers like this, and then turn it around to draw a line from your eyes just to your collarbone, and then just underneath your collarbone, you massage those 2 points and put your other hand on your belly button. Okay, and then for those that have got lots of coordination, you can move your eyes from side to side. And why the eyes is because we are looking at screens all day. We need to move our eyes. Our eyes are 100% muscle, so they also need a little bit of exercise. Okay, so this is brain
They're
buttons.
like pressure points, Andrea.
Yes, they are.
I remember I did Kung Fu for a while, and I'm sure these are 2 of the pressure points. I'm thinking back now. These are 2 of the pressure points that we learned.
So they are actually linking to the kidney meridian. They're kidney points. And then you change hands, because what you do on one side, you want to do on the other side. So this also helps to relax the neck and shoulder muscles. And it's the first part of integrating right and left hemispheres. So, and it's C for clearer thinking, is because it actually helps you get the energy flow going so you can think clearer.
When you say the C, you're referring to the C shape that you're making with your hand.
Yeah, that as well, yes. So it's a C shape, and then it's also, we call it PACE. So we call these 4 exercises PACE. So positive, active, clear, and energetic. So, but we start at the bottom. So E is for energy, which is water. C is for clearer thinking, which is for brain buttons. And now we're going to go into A for active. So now we need to get active. So now it's about standing up and actually doing a cross crawl. So if you've got the space, it is just moving up and standing up and crossing the midline. It's literally crossing the midline. And it's better if you are sitting down, make sure you're lifting your legs up. There we go. But see if you can, make sure there's touch, because touch stimulates nerve growth factor.
Touch your knee, Paul.
What's that?
You must touch your knee.
I'm doing comrades in a few weeks. I don't have the energy to do all this stuff now. I'm resting. I'm tapering.
And that's A for active, which gets both sides activated. And don't you feel a little bit more awake?
Yes,
and energized?
already, straight away.
And it's not even doing more than, we average 10 to 15, but you can do as many as you want. And then the last one is P for positive, which is a positive hookup. So what you do is you cross your ankles, and then you go thumbs up, thumbs down, and then cross over and interlink your fingers. And then you bring it up, under, through, and then you rest it on your chest and take a deep breath in and out. And then you put your tongue to the top of your palate. And you hold this pose for about a minute. So this is the positive hookup. So it helps us diffuse emotional and environmental stresses. So it's like telling your arms you don't need to fight, telling your legs you don't need to run away, but touching your tongue to the top of your palate, you're telling your emotions you're safe. So that's why babies suck their thumb or want to nuzzle, or they suck dummies when they feel scared and unsafe. So this helps to calm the whole neurological system.
Don't recommend you do this while you're driving, this position.
Yeah, no, this is a bit difficult doing while driving, but yes. But if you are driving and you do feel anxious, what you can do is when you stop at a red light, you can put your hand on your forehead.
Sorry, when you stop where?
At a red robot.
People do that in this country.
So by just even holding the steering wheel and you just put your hand on your forehead, what you're doing is you're touching, they call it positive points in brain gym. So you are actually stimulating, so remember, touch stimulates nerve growth factor. So you're stimulating the nerves to go to the front of the brain, the prefrontal lobes. So remember, when we go into stress, we go into the brainstem. So we bring attention to the prefrontal lobes, and it helps us to actually get clearer thinking and calm down. So have you noticed when people get stressed, what do? They do this immediately, and they like put their hands in their head in their hand, sorry. And that's how it actually helps to calm everything down. So excuse my words coming back and forth. Another reason I got into the work is because I was dyslexic. So, and the brain gym movements have definitely helped me with overcoming a lot of those challenges from a learning perspective.
Wow, that's
And
incredible.
now, how does everyone feel?
I definitely feel more awake, more alert.
Yes,
yeah.
definitely
Woo.
better.
It works.
So now
There's no
what you've done,
question.
you've activated the whole brain. So now you've got your full potential.
Excellent. I'm all
Yes.
ears.
So,
Good.
Andrea, so I teach brain gym. Well, we do brain gym. It's not, I don't teach it. We do brain gym in my workshops. And there was one of my students was a teacher for nursery school, and she went and implemented it. Now the whole school is doing it, even the principal, because of
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
And that's my goal. I mean, if we could get this into the schools, the kids would achieve so much more, and also they'll be able to cope. And so remember, when we go into stress, we make survival-based decisions. So, but when we calm and relax, we make cognitive-based decisions. So, and the biggest thing is just to get ourselves out of the state of fight or flight so we can actually function to our optimal performance.
Yeah.
And how long would something like this last? You know, we've done this now. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I definitely feel more awake than I did 15 minutes ago. How long does this sort of take to wear off? How many times should we be doing it in a day?
So in general, like what I suggest with kids, especially in the classrooms aspect, it's pretty much whenever you have a break. So when they have a school break and they go and eat sugar, bread, all the rest, that pretty much unsettles the physiology of everything in your body. So anytime you have anything that disrupts your balance. So it's like if you're working and then you have to go into a tough meeting, I would recommend doing the exercise before a tough meeting. Or if you find that you get an angry phone call or upsetting phone call, what it does, it kind of gets so you're on the highway, and then you pretty much get someone who jumps in front of you. That's what happens during the day. So normally we can function fully, optimally the whole day, but it's these cars that come and jump in front of us and get us to swerve out of our balance, that gets us off balance and stimulates the stress response, which is our survival response. And our body needs to do that so we can survive. And then pretty much it's using the tools of brain gym is to get yourself back into the lane again, to get yourself back into balance, to calm yourself down. I mean, generally, I recommend doing it first thing in the morning, so you set the tone of your day like that. And then if someone does swerve in front of you, you actually don't get such a fright and get angry about it. You just say, oh, they're just crossing lanes, instead of reacting and using that experience, setting the tone for the rest of your day. And then when you are more calm, relaxed, it's amazing how much everyone around you also has a positive ripple effect to the people around you. So everything has a positive ripple effect, but we can also have a negative ripple effect. And that's what a lot of society do. We hold on to the negative instead of looking at the positive and allowing our calmness to actually positively impact everyone. So the amazing thing is with the hookup is that if you stay calm, so even if you can't get your child to do it with you in the state of stress, so if they're having a meltdown and you say, okay, just sit in the hookup, and they refuse, which always happens, even if you as a parent or as a teacher, you sit in the hookup for them, within a minute, they will start calming down. So they did an experiment of this in one of the brain gym conferences in America, where they put someone, they had an EEG machine, an ECG machine, and they put someone in a state of stress, put them on stage, and that person just had to think of their stressor. So you can imagine all the brain waves and the heart rate was going quite fast and high. Then they called 10 people up on stage, and all of them had to just stand around this person in the hookup. And within 47 seconds, this person's heart rate started to slow down. So if you stay calm, you can have a positive impact around the people around you. So by just doing this with people in your presence that are upset, will calm them down. So I know this is quite, if I walk around, I actually had a client who was quite funny. So she came for me to see me because of a lot of stress and anxiety. And during Christmas, it was like Christmas, 2 days before Christmas, she had to get the shopping done and she just was missing milk. All she needed was milk. So she comes and then there's this big long queue at Pick and Pay. She's running late and she's like so frantic. And then suddenly she goes, I just need to do my brain gym. And she just stood in the queue like this and she just focused on breathing. And then the lady in front of her says, what are you doing? She goes, I'm calming myself down. And then she actually got the person in front of her and the one behind her doing the same thing. And she walked out laughing and actually enjoying her experience about shopping for milk on the busiest day of the year, rather than having this whole stress, anxiety workup, which would have messed up her whole day. So it's all these simple tools. If we calm our physical body, calm down, then we calm down mentally.
That's fascinating. I actually, before we wrap up, I actually read also some research on, obviously your heart have a electromagnetic field. So when you are doing hookups, your heartbeat is regulated or coherent. And they actually say, if you have a good relationship with your partner, when you're sleeping, your heartbeats synchronize with each other. That was quite beautiful. So I think it's that same type of thing. You might not see it, but because you are regulating your own electromagnetic field, it kind of syncs with the people around you. So that's quite amazing.
It's called, it links to heart coherence. So
yes.
That's the quantum physics.
Yes.
Because we're interconnected, even though we don't realize it.
Definitely. Can we quickly just recap those 4 steps, Andrea? The first one was hydrating. The second
Drinking
one
water.
is, yes. And then the second one was the brain buttons.
Yeah, which is
Yes.
rubbing, they're like kidney points. So it's just underneath the collarbone and put the other hand on the belly button. So it's pretty much keeping on the belly button, yeah.
Okay, so the other hand has to be on the belly button while you're doing it.
Yeah, so what it does, it helps to close the circus, and also our belly button is our center of gravity. It's also where we were born from. So this is where we actually get our inner balance from.
Yes. Okay, and then the third one is the cross over. Yes, the cross crawl. Yes. And the last one is the hookups.
Yes, and then just a tip with the hookups for kids under the age of 7, they might struggle with holding it like this. Then I tell them to do a butterfly. So to cross their thumbs and lay the butterfly on their chest and tap. So it's like slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, 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 quick, quick, slow. And this helps to calm the whole neurological system down. And you'll see the kids, whenever they're upset, my kids know, they go immediately into this pose and they know they can calm down and self-regulate.
Amazing. That's an amazing tool.
Definitely.
That's better. I was just saying, I think it's incredible to have a tool that we can use ourselves without having to rely on others, because so many of these tools where we are almost seen to be empowered, we're not empowered at all because we rely on somebody else to help us, whether it's a physio or a massage or any sort of other treatment, where this is great because you can do it to yourself.
Yes. And that's the point is pretty much everyone in life needs tools, because you can't go to a therapist 24/7. You need the tools to self-regulate yourself so you can cope.
Wow. Thank you so much, Andrea. This was amazing and fascinating. Where can people get hold of you?
My website is innatepotential.co.za. I'm on Facebook, which is innate, INNATE, Andrea Riem, and on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. So yes, you should be able to find me somewhere on those.
Wonderful. And how do I spell Riem, Andrea? Riem. How do you spell Riem?
It's R-I-E-M.
R-I-E-M. Wonderful. Fantastic. I certainly found today's session really helpful. Mary, I hope you did. And Marika, you as well. Yes?
Absolutely. I love it. I love listening to Andrea's tips. She's got a
Wonderful.
lot more if you want to know more. You must make an appointment with her.
Okay. Bring it on. I'm keen. Andrea, thank you for your time, and to you for listening and watching. Thank you very much indeed. Remember, if you do have any comments relating to this podcast, please leave them. And likewise, if you have any suggestions, if you are a coach, or perhaps you know of a coach who you think that we could be chatting with on this show, please also comment and be in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. From the Coaches Network team, thank you so much, and we'll look forward to your company on the next one. Cheers for now.